While recovering from chemotherapy, I woke up to find my neighbor had posted giant signs across my lawn saying, "Attention, biohazard zone." When I reported it, she doubled down posting pictures of my home on social media, claiming I was infectious. I sued her for defamation and emotional distress, and watching her read her court-ordered apology live on Facebook in tears was the justice I prayed for. My name is Danielle. I'm 48 years old and I live just outside Missoula, Montana, in a quiet area where everyone mostly minds their business. I've lived in the same one-story house for 15 years. I've always been private and quiet. I did my own yard work, helped a few neighbors with their taxes when they needed it, and mostly just kept to myself with my dog Jasper. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. If you've never been through chemotherapy, I don't know how to explain it except to say that it's like your body turns against you. I lost my hair, my skin turned pale and dry, I could barely keep down water some days. I was weak, frail, and scared. I didn't have a lot of people around me. My ex-husband moved states away years ago. I never had kids. My sister checks in when she can, but she's got a family of her own. When I got the diagnosis, I told just a few people. I didn't want pity. I just wanted to survive. That's when the nightmare with Debbie started. Debbie moved in 2 houses down from me a couple years ago. She inherited the house from her mom, I think. She was loud, nosy, and always had a complaint. She'd call animal control if someone's dog barked too long, report trash cans left out past pickup, even went around measuring fence lines once and made someone tear theirs down over 2 inches. We didn't talk much. I smiled when I saw her. She never smiled back. When my chemo started, I was barely outside. I had deliveries coming, a home nurse visiting once a week, and I'd only go out to get mail or walk Jasper when I could manage. One day, maybe 5 weeks into treatment, I found a handwritten note in my mailbox. It said, "Some of us have children. Stay inside until you're no longer contagious." No name. Just those words. I was confused at first. Contagious? I wasn't sick with something that could spread. I was the one fighting for my life. I tossed the note in the trash and figured someone was just being ignorant. Then came the signs. One morning, I dragged myself out of bed because Jasper needed to go out. I opened the front door, and I swear for a second, I thought I was hallucinating. In my front yard, right next to the walkway, were 2 massive orange signs. Fluorescent orange, like traffic warning signs. They had hand-painted letters that said, "Biohazard zone, toxic area, stay back." They were stuck into the grass with wooden stakes. There was even a little skull and crossbones drawn underneath. I stared at them for a long time. My legs felt weak. I almost sat down on the porch just to breathe. I looked across the street and there she was. Debbie. Sitting on her porch, sipping something from a mug, watching me. I walked over. I should have waited. I was too weak to be angry properly, but I had to know. I asked her, "Did you do this?" She looked right at me and said, "You should be ashamed of yourself. You're a danger to everyone here." I told her I was on chemotherapy. That I wasn't contagious. That this was cruel and wrong. She said, "Cancer or COVID, you people don't care. You just want attention." I asked her to take the signs down. She said, "They're not on your side of the property line." I called the cops. 2 officers came, both men, young. I showed them the signs, told them I was undergoing cancer treatment, that this was harassment. They looked at the property line. Told me they couldn't do anything. Said the signs were technically on her side of the line and didn't break any laws. "It's probably best to ignore her," one of them said. I wanted to scream. I didn't have the energy. So I walked back, took a box cutter, and dragged my tired, sick body across the yard. I yanked those damn signs out of the ground myself and hid them in my garage. I cried afterward. I hadn't cried that much in a long time. The next day, she made it worse. She took a picture of me, from her porch, zoomed in. I was standing in my robe, pale as a ghost, holding Jasper's leash. Then she posted it on Facebook. The post said, "This woman has been walking around our neighborhood sick, and refuses to stay inside. Neighbors, be careful. I've reported her. She's either got cancer or something worse. Either way, she's dangerous." The photo showed me clearly. No makeup, no hair, looking like death. I didn't even have a Facebook account, but a friend of mine from town texted me screenshots. She wasn't just spreading lies. She was humiliating me. I wish I could say that post was the end of it. That someone reported it, that Facebook took it down, that she faced consequences right away. None of that happened. In fact, the post stayed up for over a week. It got over 300 comments. A few people defended me, but most didn't. Some said, "Why isn't she in a hospital?" Others wrote things like, "My cousin died from COVID. People like this woman are the problem." One woman even said, "This is why I homeschool." I was stunned. They were talking about me like I was some walking disease. They didn't even bother to ask questions. Just believed her lies. Then came the groceries. I used to have a local guy, Thomas, deliver my groceries once a week. After the post went viral, he stopped showing up. I called him and asked if something happened. He said, "Sorry, Danielle. My wife saw the post. She's really nervous. I just can't take the risk." The risk of bringing food to a woman on chemotherapy. A week later, someone egged my house. Eggs thrown at my windows, my garage door, even my mailbox. I filed another report with the police. They took it down, made a note, but that was it. No one ever came to clean it. No one offered help. The egg stains stayed on my siding for weeks because I didn't have the strength to wash them off myself. I kept thinking, what did I do to deserve this? I got cancer. That's it. That's all I did. I got sick and kept to myself. And somehow, that made me a target. Then came the turning point. My old boss, Randall Henson, saw the Facebook post. I'd done taxes for his business years ago. He messaged me, "Danielle, I'm so sorry. If you want to sue her, I'll represent you. Pro bono." I didn't even think about suing before. I was too tired. But something in me cracked. A kind of survival instinct. Not just for my health, but for my dignity. I told him yes. Randall came to my house, took photos, documented everything. The signs, the Facebook post, the messages I got, the missed deliveries. He even pulled ring footage from my neighbor across the street. It showed Debbie hammering the signs into the ground early that morning. He looked at me and said, "This isn't just petty neighbor drama. This is defamation. Harassment. You've got a case." We filed suit, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and invasion of privacy. When Debbie got the paperwork, she lost her mind. She stood on her porch, waving the court documents, yelling at anyone who would listen. "She's trying to sue me because I care about my neighborhood. This is what we get for trying to protect ourselves." Then she went online and posted again, this time about the lawsuit. She wrote, "Now the toxic neighbor is suing me because I told the truth. I guess free speech is dead." Randall used that post too. Every word of it. And then came the town meeting. Every month, our little township has a public meeting. I never went before. But that month, Randall said, "Come with me." He stood up, presented my story, the signs, the posts, everything. A few neighbors who saw what happened spoke up too. One older man, Mr. Lynch, said, "That poor woman was sick and this lady tried to destroy her reputation for fun." And right then, I noticed something change. People stopped looking at me like I was the problem. They started looking at Debbie. She started getting colder looks at the store. Fewer people waved when she walked by. Her niece, the only relative she talked about, commented under her second Facebook post. "This is disgusting behavior. We're ashamed." That was just the beginning. After the township meeting, things started shifting, but not in the way I thought they would. Debbie got quiet. She stopped posting for a while. Her porch, once her stage for rants and gossip, stayed empty. No more yelling, no more stares. For a few weeks, I almost started to believe the worst was behind me. But silence, I've learned, doesn't always mean peace. One day, Randall called me. "Danielle, have you checked her Facebook lately?" I hadn't. I didn't have the stomach for it anymore. "She started a GoFundMe," he said. "Says you're suing her to bankrupt her. She's claiming she's a victim of a cancer scam and that you never even had cancer. Says you faked it for sympathy and money." I couldn't speak. My throat closed up. I just sat there with the phone against my ear, frozen. Randall continued, "She uploaded a photo of your house and said it's part of a long con. Accusing you of targeting elderly neighbors for lawsuits." I felt like I was going to throw up. He emailed me the link. I clicked. The GoFundMe title read, "Help me fight back against a vindictive scam artist." The description underneath was worse. Full of lies. Said I'd shaved my head to gain sympathy and was using fake medical records. She even suggested my lawyer was in on it, calling him a crooked accountant turned shark. There were screenshots of my home. A picture of me in my front yard. Another of me sitting on my porch with Jasper, looking sick, used as proof that I was staging the illness. I started shaking. My hands wouldn't stop. I called Randall back. "Can she do this?" "No," he said flatly. "But she just made things a whole lot easier for us in court." The GoFundMe page exploded. People donated. Some believed her. But others started digging. Someone in town found my hospital records from the cancer treatment center. I had shared them once in a support group post, and reposted them. That's when her story started falling apart. More people turned on her. Some demanded refunds. Others started leaving angry comments on her fundraiser. "You're making up lies about a cancer patient? This is sick." Someone reported the campaign. Within a week, it was taken down. Her account got flagged. But the damage was done. Debbie had poked a hornet's nest she couldn't control. And then, another twist. A woman named Carla messaged me. She lived 2 towns over. Her message said, "I don't know you, but I recognize your neighbor. Debbie used to live next to my sister in Belgrade. She did the same thing. Called CPS on her, said my sister's son had lice and was giving it to the neighborhood. It was all lies. We moved because of her." I had Randall call Carla. Her story matched mine almost exactly. Same tactics. Harassment. False claims. Public shaming. CPS visits. She even had a photo of Debbie putting a handwritten sign in someone's yard that said, "Unfit mother lives here." This wasn't just a one-time thing. Debbie was a serial liar. A public bully. And we were about to bring every piece of it into court. The trial began 3 months later. It wasn't held in some giant city courthouse. It was in a small county courtroom in Missoula, old wooden benches, a single ceiling fan clicking overhead. But to me, it felt like the biggest place on earth. Debbie sat across from me, her face tight, wearing a purple blouse like she was heading to Sunday service. Her lawyer looked tired before we even started. I walked in holding Jasper's leash. He was allowed as my emotional support dog. I was thinner than I'd ever been, but stronger, too. My hair had started growing back in soft patches, and I'd stopped wearing the beanie. I wanted her to see me, not sick, not fragile. Just there. Real. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, listened carefully as Randall laid it all out. The photos of the signs. The Facebook posts. The GoFundMe campaign. The statement from Carla in Belgrade. Even the ring footage from across the street. It was all lined up in a folder marked, Baines vs. Morgan, evidence of malice. Debbie didn't help her case. On the stand, she tried to play victim. Said she was worried about her safety and thought I was pretending to be ill. The judge cut her off. You diagnosed your neighbor with deception and then broadcasted to the world without a single shred of proof. Debbie's lawyer tried to spin it, said I had posted provocative pictures by being outside. That it was a misunderstanding. But the courtroom wasn't buying it. Then came the part one hadn't expected. The judge looked directly at me and said, Ms. Morgan, I see your pain. But I have to ask, did you respond to any of this online? Did you fight fire with fire? I told her the truth. I admitted I'd posted one angry comment back under Debbie's second post before I deleted it. Said something like, you'll regret this when the lawsuit hits. The judge nodded slowly. You let anger speak once. But this court sees the difference between retaliation and cruelty. And then she gave her verdict. Debbie was guilty. On all counts. Defamation. Emotional distress. Invasion of privacy. The judge ordered Debbie to pay me $75,000 in damages. But that wasn't all. She also ordered a public apology to be made the same way the damage was done, on Facebook, Live, with comments enabled. Debbie tried to fight it. Tried to claim it was humiliating. The judge replied, that's the point. The day of the apology came. Debbie sat on her porch, the same porch she used to watch me from, phone in hand, live streaming. She looked like someone had carved all the fire out of her. Eyes red. Voice shaking. She read from the paper, every word approved by the court. I falsely accused my neighbor Danielle Morgan of being contagious and of faking her illness. I created fear and hostility in our neighborhood and spread lies online. I accept full responsibility for the harm I caused. She paused. Wiped her eyes. I apologize to Danielle, and to anyone else I've hurt with my behavior. I was wrong. The comments were brutal. Too late. You deserve this. This is what happens when you lie about cancer. I didn't comment. I just watched. After it ended, I sat in my living room with Jasper, and for the first time in months, I exhaled like my lungs worked again. 3 weeks later, Debbie put her house up for sale. She moved out before it even closed. No goodbye. Just gone. As for me? I started volunteering at the cancer center. Helping others going through what I went through. Letting them know that no matter how sick you are, how weak you feel, you are not invisible. I'm not a hero. I made mistakes too. I let one comment slip in anger. I isolated myself before all of this, made it easier to be a target. I thought being quiet would protect me. But sometimes, you have to speak. Loudly. Legally. Unapologetically. Because silence doesn't stop evil, but truth, dragged into the light, sometimes does.